crafters. Welcome back to my channel, and we are going to work on several of the pages for the Tropical Travelogue, and we'll see how far we can get, and hopefully we can get these pages done and the back of the book, and then also do something with the front of the book. We'll see how far we get, how much time we've got. So we are on now. We have finished up all the way to page 8. We're in page 8, which is on hinge 4. And I'm going to try something a little bit different from what I've done in the past. It's something I saw another crafter do, so I want to try this out. And our pages again are 6.5 by 8.5. So what I did is just make this part of the pattern paper just 1/8 of an inch shorter than the rest of the page itself. Looks like I might need to take just a slight bit off. And it's always better to cut just a little bit longer, because you can always cut more of it off as you go along, even if it's just tiny pieces of that. So, all right. What we're going to do is, I decided rather than cutting this into small pieces, I was going to just cover the whole back with a full page of the pattern paper, and that way it was a full coverage on the back. So you can, in doing this page, you don't have to do a full sheet of the pattern paper. You can do in between the pockets. It's just what I chose to do, so really your own preference to this is good. So I just thought it would make things simpler for me. So the next thing that I'm going to be doing on here is we're going to be putting down 2 pockets. The pockets are, the size of them is 7 3/8 by 3, and then you're going to score 1/2 an inch on 3 sides, and then also miter the corners, and I just miter up here a little bit. And again, that's 2 of those, and I made them so that they for sure would sit on this page and be a little bit more inside. So what we're going to be doing is putting our pocket down, and then we are going to have an insert that's going to go into this pocket that will flap down and over. And with this, you can also put other flaps or other tags and things in there, but I just wanted to do this real quickly to kind of see where I'm at with my pockets. I might move this up a little bit. I think right. It's the first time I've done this, a page like this, so it's a little bit of an experiment for me as well. So, and I made them a little bit more narrow than the pocket itself. I just wasn't sure quite how wide to make it, and I'll give you the measurements on those in just a minute. You know, probably if I was to do it all over again, I probably would make them just a little bit wider. But I think I'm gonna go with that. So these that are in the pocket, they measure, this is 5.5 by 6, and then I just punched along the edge, so that total width is 5.5, and then I scored at 2 inches. All right, so let's get these pockets down and kind of see how we go from there. How's everybody doing today? It's a nice, for me, it's a Sunday afternoon, and it's raining and pouring out. I gotta move this over just a little bit. Turn it upside down so I can see it just a little bit closer. All right. And then what we're going to do is to put this other pocket onto here. The other thing is that I wanted to make this back of the page a little bit, not quite so thick, because the page number 7 has a lot more width on it, and I wanted to make this so that we didn't get too much bulk on a page. Alrighty, so hopefully that's all good. So now what we've got is I've got pattern papers cut out, and these are going to be for our flaps that are going into the pocket, and then these are going to be for on the pocket. And I just cut these a 1/16, or I'm sorry, an 1/8 of an inch shorter around all the edges. So they approximately came out to be 2 3/8 by, this one is 6 1/4. So turn that around so I can get this a little closer to me to be able to see what I'm doing. And I've also used vintage photo on all sides of the paper. Put this one down. I like this paper quite a bit. I like it for the bright colors and the different themes and things, but I wished it would have had a little bit more, wish it had one more patterned paper that had all the colors in it. I kind of felt like this one was the only one that really helped to tie the multiple colors together. So that would be my one wish with this. So what I ended up doing is I'm probably going to cover the inside of these with a photo mat. For now, I'm just going to do the pattern paper, and I will wait and see what I have left over to do the insides of these photo mats. So each one of these, let me just see if I have these. I don't know if I cut them. Wow, this looks really narrow. I guess that works. All right, so let's do this. I might have cut this one just a little bit shy of what I originally wanted, but let me just check this. No. Thought I had cut these so that they would match up along the way, but I guess I didn't. And this one, this looks like I need to cut just a smidge off it. A little bit too long. So let's see how that fits. Actually, I'm going to have to cut off that width too. Wonder what I was doing. And this width, or the width-wise here, I think I'm going to have to cut about 1/8 of an inch off on that, which is quite a bit actually. I'm a bit off. See how that works. But again, I'd always like to, I would prefer to have to cut some off rather than have it too short. So after this, I had the thought that I was going to work on a folio that is, or well, it's a folio album. Don't know if it's 100% a folio, and it's actually a design from somebody that I saw on YouTube, Rosa Kelly. I just loved the design of this folio or mini album, and I wanted to use that for with a different set of papers. I was going to use the G45, what is it, Farmhouse? Oh my gosh, I'm blanking on the name of that paper. So I thought I would use her, basically her format for the folio, because I wanted to see how that would turn out with the G45 papers. What she did, she used papers from, let me just think the name of them. They're a newer paper line. Oh, I can remember, it's like, I think it's called Love Notes. I cannot think of the vendor though, or the manufacturer. But she did really an amazing job on the folio, and I really enjoyed how she put it together. It was a lot of room for pictures, and yet it was fairly simple in the implementation of the folio. So I was kind of thinking of doing that and just seeing how it would turn out with the Graphic 45 Farmhouse papers. And otherwise, hey, do you have any other thoughts or ideas of things that you would like to do? The other thing that I have that I could work on is there is a Craftology box from Country Craft Creations that I got the papers for that, and that is from My Mind's Eye newest papers. They're I can't remember the name of the paper right off the bat, but it's a floral and just really beautiful papers. So let me know in the comments below if you have a thought about what you would like to see next, or what you'd like me to do next, and we'll see what we can do. Go with that. Yep, I probably should have made that one up just a little bit further. Thought I had that measured out really well, but I guess I didn't. So I'm going to just make sure that I put that up a little bit further, and possibly even, I was thinking too, what might even work well is if I put a tag in here to hold that down. And I think we should be okay though, because it's turning this way. So I think that works pretty well. But the hint would be is I would probably go up probably about another quarter of an inch, half of an inch, and so that this this part doesn't hang over on the edge. But I think we'll be just fine with just pulling it up a little bit higher. The other option that you have is that you could do you could do a magnet on this to hold this down. Now we do not have I already put the paper down on here, but the option is to put a smaller magnet on there, and I can do some kind of decoration going across the top of that. So I might even do that, and to hold that. And what I'll do is I will put the magnet somewhere into here so that it, down here a little bit further, down here a little bit further, but so that it lands on here, that it'll hold it up a little bit higher. So I think I'm going to do that. In fact, let me get my magnets, and I'm gonna do that right now. And we're gonna figure out, we'll figure out what we're going to put. What we're gonna do, put that over that later on, because I can use some of the stickers and just mat it on black cardboard or chipboard or on black paper. So I think I'm going to, well, that's not even. Alrighty. Did you ever think something like this would be? Oh my goodness. So I'm just going to take this up about that far, and I'm going to, I think I'm going to stick that down there, because I think that'll be safe in that spot. And that's going to be there. Take that off, and that should hold that up a little bit higher for us. And this can be held in place by one of the tags, or I'll either use this tag or I will use a different kind of tag. So the next page that we're going to work on is page number 9, which is on hinge 5. And this is all of it. Oh, this is 10. This is 9. You know what? I don't think I even did my papers for 10 yet. I did the back cover, but I didn't do 10. So we're going to work on this though, and put this all together. And we're going to have some flaps on this on page 9, and it's going to mirror some of the colors and tones on the other page. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to need to have 12 flaps that are 6 by 4, and we are going to make this into, we're going to make this, oh, actually I put this together. We're going to put this into as an alternating flap on this page. So again, the flaps in black need to be cut 6 by 4, and you're going to score a 1/2 inch on the 5.5 inch or 6 inch side. So it's now 5.5 inches by 4. So that's how it'll be set up. And on each side, so we're going to be putting these down onto our paper here. And what I want you to do is to take those flaps, and what we did is I glued 3 of them together. So just make those match up along the edges, and we're going to put one here. Then we're also going to put one on this side. And these are all glued, Yep, I glued all of these. I glued them all together. One of the nice tricks that I saw another crafter do is when she stacks her flaps, if they're one on top of each other, she takes them and puts them together, and she'll usually paper clip one side, or she just holds one side so that it stays very nice and even. I haven't quite perfected it yet, but I think I've done better than I would have done. And then she just runs glue inside the first one and then the second one. You don't need to do it on the back yet. And then just puts that together, then goes and does the other side and pulls that together, and then just clips them together so that they are then a lot more even, because you can take and even them up. You have a little bit of wiggle room and making them more square on those. So what I have chosen to do is I was going to take this paper, and where are my hinges? So one of the things that I wanted to do on this page is I was going to use these border strips and put them along the side, and then I was going to put the border strip in here. I'll probably put a photo mat down here. Don't think I cut those yet. That's a hard thing for me, I'll tell you, crafters. Sometimes I get this ready a day or two ahead of time so that I have everything cut out and have it ready to go, inked and everything done. And then sometimes I have to wait a day or two before I can record, and then I'm like, what was I doing? What did I think of? And hopefully, shoot. Okay. I'm probably the one person that lifts up their paper more than anyone. So this page is 8.5, and so this would have been cut 8 3/8 for lengthwise. Widthwise, I just cut what was a good matching size, but this is probably 7/8. 7/8 of an inch is what this comes out to be. And I'm going to take this one. What I was trying to do is to try to pick up some of the blues and greens, especially the greens coming over from the other page next to it, so that I can kind of, if you look at this here, to marry some of the greens in there, and possibly even some of the peach. Okay, All right. So then, oh, sugar plums. I cannot believe I did that. Okay, well, you see an error again. I thought I was doing the right thing. Okay, well, I'm going to try something I think a little bit different. I want to hide those. Jeez, so mad at myself. I wonder if I can do that, or if that's going to mess with my, when I put it in for my binding. Well, you know what? I am just going to try it. We have an extended binding on this, so I think I'm going to be okay. I'm going to do this now. So rolling back, I should have put these down after I put these on. So that is my mistake and my bad. So I'm going to go ahead and get the pages that I can put along this side. So this, let me just see. We've got this going like this. This will be here. This will be here. So this is my binding side. So I want to make sure that I pick the ones on here that have a little bit less bulk on them, so that it won't interfere as much with the spine. There's always a fix. Always can be a fix. Thank goodness for fixes. All right, let me just see how that looks. Where's my clothespins? To try to hold those as straight as I can on the paper. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull this out, and hopefully it'll fit right back in there where, oh, it has moved. Turn that over. Make sure I am where I need to be. All right. So far, so good. Now, let's take a look at this one and match that up again. Make sure it's in all the way. I could stabilize it a little bit more, but I don't think that's going to work. So let's just do this. And of course it moved again, so just hope for the best. Bring that around and in as straight and close as I can get it. All right, I think that's the best we're going to do. So on this other side, we're going to do the same thing, but with this one, it won't matter as much because it's really for the photo mat that goes in the pocket. So I'm going to match this up. I want to match this up with this. And get that as straight as I possibly can. All right. So not a perfect result on this page, but we will make do, because ultimately it'll be just fine. So what we're going to end up doing is these flaps are going to like that, and then this one the same thing, where that's down, up, and like that. So what I also did is I cut some matting for these, and I wanted to do alternate matting on them so that, and I did not cut any of the other flaps because of the fact that, again, I want to see what I have left. I may mat them, I may not, but I know for sure I'm going to mat the back of them. I'm going to trim a little bit off this one. So again, just measure your matting 1/8 of an inch shorter than the paper. So the paper should be 3 7/8 by 5 3/8. There we go, that's a pretty good cut. I like the fit of that. Alrighty. Okay, and as I'm sitting here, I'm just thinking, you know what? I need magnets to keep these down. Thank goodness. All right, so let's go ahead, and I'm just going to use these thin magnets. They're the smaller ones, not thin, but smaller ones. So I think what I'll do is I like magnets, and obviously with any closure on the on your mini album, you really can do them any way that you like. If you like more ribbons, then use more ribbons for your closures. I just really happen to like the magnets a little bit better when I remember to put them down. And so I know that they're not inexpensive, but I figure that when I'm making this album, it's meant to be something that will last, so I just happen to like it. I like it a little better. So I'm gonna go with that, and alrighty. So we've got our magnets down there. Come on. go. So now we've got our closure for that. Should be good. And here is my piece of paper that I almost put down. Yay! So we're going to do that. And the other thing is that I like to get my papers in and everything down, and then I like to make sure that I can match like any of the stamps or ephemera once after I have all the papers down. So this one's not too bad. I think we're pretty good on that one. So get this one down. Is that facing the right? Yeah. Okay, so then we're going to go to this next. Remember, always dry fitting before you put a piece of paper down. That I'm going to have to take a bit off. Again, just dry fit your papers and you should be good to go. Oop, did I forget to do those other sides? Guess I did. Our glitter glue. My favorite glue. The other glue that I use, or I used to use a lot, was Fabri-Tac. I also like that. It's more for fabric, thus the name Fabri-Tac, but I do like it also for putting regular paper pages down. I think that it works really well. So let me just see. Is there a... So we should be like this. I think I'm going to have to cut just a little bit off that length again. So we're going to put this one down here, and notice I have this upside down just because it's easier for me to see it close to me. There you go. Gives us a little bit of a different look and feel. And then I have to clean that up a little bit. Don't like that. Now I think these were my photo mats that I think I cut out ahead of time. Again, like I said, I do these usually a couple of days previous. Might have to fix that one just a little bit. Alrighty, so we've got 2 photo mats that are going to fit right in here, and then I have this small piece of pattern paper for in the middle. And then I have matting for the back of the pages, and I'm going to put those down, but you can feel free to skip forward if you like. I've never done a video where I do a fast forward section, but if I can figure out how to do that, that's what I'll do for the rest of the matting on the back of these pages. And I was going to say I can do it off camera, but sometimes what happens when I say I'm going to do something off camera, then I get sidetracked by something else and I don't get it done. So I am just going to do the whole kit and caboodle, and I will try to fast forward, but especially because I'm not going to be talking while I get the backing on those flaps. And this should fit right here in the middle of those 2. You can see how we've carried the green and blue and even some of the peach into here. I think that looks pretty good. So I'm going to, like I said, now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to finish putting the mats on the back of these pages, and I'm going to try my best to fast forward over these so that it doesn't go too slow. But the mats, again, were cut exactly the same as the papers, as the other papers that were on the front. So just an 1/8 of an inch smaller than the measurements. So it would have been 3 7/8 by 5 3/8. Well, this is done. I guess I missed cutting a few of the matting, but primarily this is how this page is going to work. It'll be, well, if I open this up all the way, let's put this all back together. That's what our inside looks like, and I will come back and put some stickers or markers, not markers, but ephemera on there. And we'll just close this up the way it was meant to be. And then we have the mats on all of these, but I will mat them with paper when I'm done. So that's our page 9 complete. So the next thing that we have is to work on page 10. Now, I don't have page 10 done, so I am going to go ahead and get that worked up, and then I'll be back to work on those pages with you and see how much further we can get. Thanks so much for watching. Okay, crafters, I am back, and we are going to work on finishing up on our page 10 and our back side of our album. So I have done a little bit of pre-work here, and let me show you what I did. First of all, I cut out 3 flaps, and it's into a large size waterfall, and the flaps are 5 7/8 by 8 1/8. And what I did is I put my one flap to the outside edge, and then I butted the next one right up to it on our on the page, and then I did the same thing with the third one on that page. And then we have our back page here for 10, and we've got these here. So I'm going to put down the things that I know I want to put down right now, and then what I'm going to do is come back to this when I know kind of the next steps that I want to take on this album. So right now, what I am wanting to do is to go ahead and get a pocket down on this page, and I also want to put a closure for the front, and this closure is going to go right in the middle here. And this closure is 6 1/4 by 1 5/8, and then we're going to end up covering that with pattern paper. And I also will go ahead and decorate that as again at the end. I just want to make sure that's, nope, that's not right where I wanted it. So it's not centered on that page, but centered more on this page is really where we want it to be. Okay. All right, and so then that's just going to flap up there. What I did do is I scored this at a 1/2 inch, and then I gave it a 1/8 inch gusset. So just as we add pictures into there, that it has enough room to grow. And I'm actually going to put a magnet on the back of here, and we'll hold it down there. And as long as that attaches to that, that should keep everything else down, or at least I hope it does. Otherwise, I may even go to doing a magnet onto the second page, but let's see how we go here. All right, let's get our pocket down first of all. And this pocket was cut to, sorry about my mess here, I'm just not the cleanest crafter. This is actually 6 1/2 by 3 1/4, and then I just scored a 1/2 inch on the 3 sides and mitered the edges on these. So we're going to put this down onto our book. And I put pattern paper on this page just so that it would go down below the pocket. One of the things that I did is when I picked out this fish page, this piece right here was actually on the bottom of that, and I didn't want to cover that up, so I actually trimmed that down. And what I ended up doing was putting it as a border up on the top, and then just, you know, putting the rest of the fish on here, so, or the fish paper down here, and I know that it would cover up in there a bit. So the other thing that I did here is I wanted to be able to get a border, so I took some of the leftover paper that I had, and I put a strip here. This is probably about 3/8 of an inch strip, and then these strips over here are this is a 3/4 inch and 3/4 inch, and I did not put a strip down on this last page, and you'll see what we're going to do with that in just a couple minutes. But I wanted to get this so it was all showing. And so do this page, and again, this is just 1/8 of an inch smaller than what our pocket is. So just measure that out from the measurements that I gave you of the pocket. Alright, then I'm also going to put this paper onto the front of our flap, and I will be putting paper on the back of the flap. I just am not sure what paper I'm going to use on it right now. Again, I might have to piece some things together. I might not. I might have plenty of paper left over, but because it's the back, I'm not going to worry about it until I get the rest of my papers down and things put together, especially because it's at the back. One of the things that I thought I would do is I would use the stickers. Now let me see if I can find them. Thought I had them right here. Sorry. So we have these stickers. So I probably am going to pick something that's a little bit bigger, and then I'm going to end up backing it with some black cardstock and covering the back of it as well. I'll have to see. Again, I'm going to wait on this until I can make a decision about some other places where I want to put things. But I probably am going to use possibly this one or this one. I don't think I'm going to use a square. I'm going to use something round, I believe, is what I'm thinking of. Unless I can even do this one if this works out well. I'll have to see. But, and I will come back and show you all of that when I've made a decision on exactly what I wanted to do. So let's go ahead and let's take and put our magnet on the back of this. And I'm going to use the larger magnets because I want to make sure it goes through a couple layers of the cards and inserts and things. So give us a little bit of strength behind that magnet. Let's just see where we hit. I think I'm actually going to put it down on this page rather than on there. So if I do this, magnet kind of hitting in between the two photo mats. I don't want that to happen. Hopefully, should be okay. There we go. All right. I'm actually going to take that off. That'll work. And I guess we'll see whether it's actually going to. These are probably just going to cover it, and maybe slightly showing. I wonder if I can move that up just a little bit. So I think I'm going to take and move that up just a slight bit so that it's at the top of our see if we can get that to that moves up a little bit more. Does that look pretty straight? Might give us a little bit more leeway room. Oh shoot. Well, that didn't work very good, now did it? I have to make sure I get my paper down on that. All right. So let's move on. I'm just going to bend that under. So this basically is done, this page with this up. I'm going to put some tags in here, maybe some decorating along the top. So on the back of here, I'm not sure whether I want to put photo mats on there or not. I'm going to, again, wait and see what happens. But on these pages, I cut strips out of this bluey turquoise paper, and they are 3/8 of an inch to fill this gap in the middle. And again, this was 3/4 of an inch strip for making the border there. And then I cut photo mats, and the photo mats that I cut were 4.5 by 4. That's what I cut. And you know, I probably could have gone just a little bit, probably a little bit bigger on the length, but I just decided that this was it gave me more opportunity to save some paper, plus I thought that I could get more out of each cut that I had, and I just wanted to make sure that I was being wise but economical. That's probably not one of my best traits, being very economical. I can't say that I always am. But I wanted to be able to see if I could get more cuts out of this cardstock for our matting. Put a little bit of a break between them, but not too much. And again, we'll come back and embellish that. And then this one, we're going to go, we've also got a strip that is 3/8 of an inch. That's going to go right in that section. And we're going to put photo mats on the other side of the page. Blue is one of my favorite colors. I'm going to just erase this in case I'm not going to be down far enough on it. So, okay, I have to tell you, true secret here. Well, not really a secret, but I was looking over what I had been working on when we just finished up, and I went to turn the page over, and I had put the pockets on the page upside down originally. So here's the page that we just did. I had them on upside down. This was upside down. It was like this when I turned it over. So yes, I ripped them off. I was able to cover them back up with the pockets in the paper without too much damage on there. And I did go inside and mat the inside of these. And then I have a stamp that just does lines, and I'm going to put a small sticker or something here, but there's some journaling opportunities there. So we're going to do that. And actually it gave me an opportunity to move that pocket up a little bit. But there you go. Again, I can make mistakes all day long as I go. But I actually got to correct this one today, so that was good. You know, I'll tell you, even the most experienced of crafters, when they're making something, you know, nothing turns out 100% perfect 100% of the time. And sometimes it's, you know, while it might not seem fun per se, but it's an opportunity to be able to figure out a new and different way to make it work. So we've got that page matted. Then I have another strip. Again, this is just 1/8 of an inch shorter of the length, and it's 3/8 of an inch because we have a 1/2 inch gusset there. Alrighty. Then on the back of here, I'm not going to do a photo mat. What I thought I would do is do a little bit of a different kind of pocket. So I have that flap there, but I put that there because of having some extra on this page. Maybe I didn't even need it. Maybe I need to do that. So what I did then is I made an angled pocket, and the angled pocket is 6.5 by 6 3/8. And then of course it's scored on 3 sides, 1/2 inch all the way around. And when I do a pocket like this, what I typically do is I will just put my paper inside and draw around with a pencil. And then if it doesn't match exactly how I need it to match, I might cut a little bit off of here, basically off of my straight edges. I never cut off of any of these angles out here, just here and here, so that I can get it onto the pocket properly. So what I'm going to do here, I think, is try to put this on, and then we'll put the pocket down. And I was just shy of the paper for this pocket, so I pulled out another little strip, and I'm going to put that along the top of this. I have to apologize, I kind of moved my camera around a little bit, so I hope I'm not going out of frame on anything for you here, but if I do, I apologize. And so then I just cut this little piece out of another, it was around a picture or something. It was just a bit of a border that I thought, oh, I can use that, because it's more of a border rather than just another strip of paper. And I thought that would finish off the pocket very well. So basically what I've got to make a decision on is I had thought I was going to be putting this pocket all the way over to this edge. And I think actually that's probably going to work better at having this come down to here. And I think I'm going to actually cut. I know that that's a little bit off and wonky, but I think that it almost fits better that way. So I am going to trim off this paper, and we'll probably trim about, looks about 1/4 inch or so. We'll start with that and go from there. Alrighty, let's see if that works. Guess it doesn't really matter, it goes all pretty much one direction. Guess I don't need that really in the pocket per se. I think I'm going to cut just a smidge more off. Sometimes it's just so hard to see the black, especially at night. And this one measured, originally it measured 5.5 by 7 1/8, but you saw that I did trim a little bit of it off. So do it as you see fit. If you want to do just a regular pocket on here, then you may not even choose to do this at all with your paper. You might want to keep it at that measurement and not do this strip down here, which you very well could do. And then we're going to get our pocket down in here. I think that'll work just fine, and that falls right into our matching colors going up there, and we'll get some tags into there as well. So and then on the back cover, I know I have it already covered with some of the other papers, but I decided that I wanted to do something, put a larger pocket in the back. And the reason for that is that I wanted them to have an area where they could put any kind of tickets or notes or anything from their trip. So that's why I put the pocket in the back. So I'll show you how I did that. All right, so I've got tags to make for this and decorating some of that, but this is done and we'll wait on this again. I probably will end up doing photo mats on here, but I'll just have to take a look at that as I go because I'm not sure how many border strips that I'm going to have left over either. But that actually pretty much is our page 10, other than finishing up some of the few items on that, but we'll look at that as we go, you know, kind of finish everything up. So the last part of the book that we're going to do tonight or today is the back cover. And what I have for the back cover is, like I said, I was just going to do a large pocket. And what I did is I cut out the pocket and scored it and mitered the edges of this and cut off the seam along here. So this was all even before. And this was the book is 7 by 9. The paper was 10 by 7, and you're going to score at 1/2 inch, and then you're going to score here 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch. So 3 times on here. And what we're going to end up doing is we're going to end up putting this down on the back of our book cover. Now you're going to have to determine, I have a fairly large gusset here, so that's why I moved this pretty tight up against this area here, because I was still okay with the book bending. But if you need to watch for that as well, to make sure that you have enough room. So we're gonna get this in. And then what I did is I took the papers and again, I cut them 1/8 inch smaller than the papers were cut. And fit them on there. And then I have a topper for my pocket as well. So let's get this all the way down. One of the things I can't stand is I get glue on my fingers and then I get it on my papers. And I know it's covered up, but I just don't like the way it looks. So I think we're good here. And then what I'm going to do is is this piece was 6 7/8 by 3 1/2. And what we did is I scored it at 1/2 inch, and then I scored 1/8 inch to give it a little bit of a gusset on that as well. So let me turn this around. Let me see where we're at. And then what I also did is I rounded these corners with my medium corner rounder. Okay. I think I'm going to have to put that down just a little bit further than I thought, because I want to make sure that I'm going over that the pocket enough that I can put a magnet down. So I think I'm going to come down off of the top of the book a little bit. And it should give us enough room to, like I said, put our magnets down. So we'll probably put that one right there in the center. Oh, where's my pokey tool? And this is, you know, with having the gussets on the sides, it makes it really nice for a lot of extra room, because there can even be photo mats put into the back, or loose photos that maybe there wasn't a photo mat for. So that all can be done as well. Stick that down there and we'll, should be good. And again, this closure you don't have to use magnets for. You actually can use a twist closure that can be done, or you can put in here a slide closure if that's what you would like to do. So you don't have to put it in with a magnet closure. There's many different types of closures if you're not a big fan of magnets. Alrighty, so this is what I have for the bottom page, and we will just center that. And I love these little fish. I love this turquoisey, greeny turquoisey blue, green. I think it's just very, very pretty colors. And you can see we've got that border piece along the bottom there. I think that looks really nice. And then for up here, what I did is I cut down this this Tropical Travelogue piece and fitting it right onto the top of this. So let me turn that around again. Catch that up. Got this just a little bit long, but I'm just going to go with it. The other thing that I might do, and if I do it, I'll put it on the back of here, is to put a piece of ribbon in there so they can use that to pull to know to pull the top off, and it'll be pulling on the ribbon more so than pulling on the pocket cover itself. All right, there we go, and we have, that's our back page. The other option that you do have is putting in two magnets on the both sides, and I did that in one of my last albums, but wasn't going to do it in this one, see if it would work out okay. So we'll see how that ends up looking with everything going into that and on top of it. So that's where we're going to stop tonight. I'm going to go ahead and put the pages on, and before we get back, if anything, I might save one page to do with you. We're going to end up doing the front cover. I haven't decided what I wanted to do, if I was just going to do some mats or if I wanted to do something, I don't know, some fold outs or something, because there's enough in this gusset here that I have enough room to add a little bit of thickness up here as well. So I'll have to figure that out. And the other thing that I was going to work on is making the little round doodads for the end of this. So we'll have that to do. The other thing that we'll have to do is to decorate the front of this mini album. And I wanted to add maybe some metal embellishments along with some flowers onto here, but I'll have to pull those out, and we'll take a look at that before we get that done, and I'll do that with you as well. So the next time should be just finishing up on the smaller things, and anything that I have done before that I do ahead of time, I'll do a walkthrough with you, showing you exactly what I've done off camera. So thanks so very much. If you're enjoying this video, please like and subscribe down below. Otherwise, thanks so much for joining me. I really do appreciate your time and really enjoy being able to share. Thanks so much. Have a great night.